chosen one. If you are watching this right now, it is not an accident. There is a deep reason you are here. Your guardian angels have a crucial message for you about something your heart has been quietly aching over for a long time. This is not a random encounter. This is a divine moment, and you were meant to hear exactly what is about to be shared. In the depths of your heart, you have been wondering about love. You wonder if it will ever come, if it is even real, and if it is truly meant for someone like you. You have felt a gentle pull, a quiet nudge that keeps guiding you towards something you cannot quite name. You have asked questions, sometimes in the quiet of the night, and sometimes in your absolute loneliest moments. These are questions you could not always put into words, but your soul has been relentlessly searching. The incredibly good news, dear one, is that God has heard every single one of them. You are here because God is speaking directly to you, and He wants you to know that something profoundly meaningful is unfolding in your life right now. Your story, including your beautiful love story, is being actively written with extreme care, clear purpose, and divine intention. It is not by chance that you are standing exactly where you are right now. The love God is intentionally guiding you toward is not an accident. It carries a sacred, holy purpose, one that reaches far beyond what your physical eyes can see today. I want to speak to that deep longing honestly and gently, because it deserves pure honesty, not empty flattery. This message is not going to hand you a fake fantasy. It is going to hand you genuine hope, and hope that is firmly grounded in truth is the only kind worth having. So please walk with me all the way to the end, because there is something here your precious heart genuinely needs to hear. Let me tell you first exactly what God has been doing in the quiet throughout all this difficult waiting that you simply did not understand. You may have wrongly interpreted the delay as cruel rejection or as painful proof that love simply passed you by. It was neither of those things. What felt like an empty, lonely season was actually intense preparation. God has not only been preparing a beautiful love for you, He has been actively preparing you for love. And there is a massive, beautiful difference between those two things. He has been healing deep places inside you that a rushed relationship would have only brutally bruised again. He has been strengthening your spirit, studying your heart, and teaching you your own immense worth. He is doing this so that when true love finally comes, you meet it as a completely whole person and not as someone desperate to be rescued. The waiting was never wasted. It was simply making you ready. A massive part of that vital healing, the part so many people unwisely skip and later deeply regret, is making peace with your painful past before you try to carry it into your bright future. If there is a specific person who selfishly left you, who cruelly betrayed you, or who broke something inside you that has not yet fully mended, I want to gently encourage you to let God completely finish that healing before the new love arrives. This is not because you are weak for being hurt, but because unforgiveness and unhealed wounds have a tragic way of following us right into the next relationship, unjustly making the new person pay a heavy debt they never owed. Please forgive the ones who hurt you. Do it not for their sake, but entirely for yours. Do it so that toxic bitterness does not sit like a massive brick wall between you and the incredibly good thing God is bringing. Release the heavy resentment. Release the endless what-ifs. Release that toxic version of the story where you keep painfully rehearsing exactly what went wrong. You absolutely do not have to forget what you wisely learned. The wisdom permanently stays with you, but you can finally let go of the crushing weight. Walk boldly into your next chapter feeling light, not dragging the heavy corpse of the last one behind you. A heart that has been fully healed and has truly forgiven is a heart that is completely ready to love again without crippling fear. And that is exactly the kind of beautiful heart God is actively forming inside you in this quiet season. This is the part I want you to tightly hold on to, because it fiercely protects you. God is not merely interested in getting you married. He is deeply interested in getting you whole. A love that is truly from Him is meant to beautifully join two people who are each actively becoming healthy, not two broken people selfishly using each other just to fill an empty hole. So if you are currently still in a season of divine preparation, please do not despise it. It is absolutely not God ignoring your desperate prayer. It is actually God answering it far more deeply than you even asked. He is actively building inside you the kind of strong person who can successfully hold a lasting love without totally losing themselves inside it. While you are navigating this season, I want to say something that will completely set you free from a quiet, dangerous trap that many waiting hearts tragically fall into. Do not put your entire life on hold, just sitting sadly by the window waiting for love to arrive before you allow yourself to truly live. That is absolutely not what God is asking of you. The most attractive thing in the entire world, and I mean this both spiritually and highly practically, is a person who is actively living a full, deeply purposeful, God-centered life right now. It is absolutely not a person frozen in sad longing. So, truly live. Deepen your daily walk with God. Pour massive love into the friendships you already have. Heal the old, festering wounds you have been actively avoiding so you absolutely do not carry them into a new love and hand someone else the unfair bill for a hurt they did not cause. Radically grow in the things that give your life genuine meaning. Beautifully serve, eagerly learn, and actively become. Because two massive things happen when you do this. First, you become completely whole and genuinely ready so that when love finally comes, you can actually hold it well. And second, you permanently stop broadcasting the toxic desperation that actively pushes healthy love away and tragically attracts the wrong kind of dangerous attention. A person who is deeply content in God, totally whole, completely at peace, and actively living with deep purpose carries a beautiful, quiet light that the right person is naturally, magnetically drawn to. You are absolutely not wasting the weight if you are actively using it to become. You are getting completely ready in the absolute most important way there is. Now, before we go any further, I want to pause for just a moment. If these specific words are stirring something incredibly real inside you, there is a profound reason for that too. There is a link securely pinned in the comments below. I am absolutely not asking you for anything at all right now. I only want you to click it, look, and simply feel in your own spirit whether this is the exact frequency your heart has been desperately needing in this exact season. You will instantly know. And if something deep inside you is quietly saying yes, then subscribe to this space so you absolutely do not miss the next step God has for you. This message is only one part of the beautiful journey He wants to walk you through. Now, let us continue, because there is much more your heart desperately needs to hear. You may be actively wondering about the specific person God is guiding you toward. You wonder why them and why now. Let me answer that incredibly carefully, because here is exactly where a lot of people go horribly wrong and get deeply hurt. And I absolutely do not want that for you. God is preparing you, and He is also actively preparing the person meant for you. Each of you is on your own unique journey, operating in His perfect timing. But hear this clearly, because it will fiercely guard your heart. This is absolutely not about fixing your eyes on one specific person and aggressively deciding by sheer force of human will that they must be the one. True love that God builds absolutely does not require you to desperately grip, endlessly chase, pitifully beg, or exhaustingly convince. It absolutely does not ask you to override your own God-given peace just to make it work. If you find yourself frantically straining to turn someone into your destiny, striving, constantly anxious, and willfully ignoring the red flags you clearly see, That striving itself is a massive sign to completely slow down and pray, not to push harder. The beautiful love God is leading you toward will never feel like toxic desperation. It will feel, in due time, like profound peace. It will absolutely not require you to abandon your spiritual discernment or your basic self-respect just to desperately hold on to it. So, trust His perfect timing far more than you trust your own aching longing. Do not try to forcefully kick down a closed door. The right door, in the exact right season, will never need to be forced. God absolutely does not have to be aggressively argued into executing His own perfect plan for your life. Hold your beautiful hope with totally open hands, not with white-knuckled, clenched fists. What is truly yours will absolutely never pass you by while you patiently wait on God. And what would ultimately harm you is absolutely not worth seizing early, just to end the painful waiting. If you somehow doubt that God actually involves Himself in something as deeply personal as who you love, let me clearly show you from His own word that He absolutely does and always has. Look at how Isaac miraculously met Rebekah. When the perfect time came for Isaac to marry, it was absolutely not arranged by frantic, anxious searching or by Isaac desperately chasing after every single possibility. Abraham wisely sent his most trusted servant, and that servant did something incredibly simple and profoundly powerful. He stopped by a well and he prayed. He specifically asked God for a clear, undeniable sign to show him the right woman. And before he had even finished praying his prayer, Rebekah came walking directly toward the well, and she did exactly what he had asked God to reveal. That meeting was absolutely not luck. It was miraculously answered prayer. God perfectly arranged the entire encounter, right down to the exact timing of her footsteps. That is the exact kind of God you are trusting with your own love story. He is absolutely not distant from this. He is intimately, perfectly involved in the microscopic details, and He is more than able to miraculously bring the right person across your path at the exact right moment, in a way you could absolutely never have engineered yourself. Then vividly look at Ruth and Boaz, because their beautiful story guards your heart in a totally different way. Ruth was a grieving widow, a lonely foreigner, a woman who had tragically lost nearly everything and had absolutely every reason to feel that love and security were permanently behind her. She was absolutely not out frantically chasing a husband. She was simply being incredibly faithful, staying fiercely loyal to the family God had given her, working with deep humility and absolute integrity in an incredibly hard season. She was just quietly doing the next right thing right in front of her. And it was exactly there, right in the middle of her quiet, unspectacular faithfulness, that Boaz noticed her. What exactly did he notice? It was not a flashy performance, and it was certainly not desperation. He noticed her beautiful character, her genuine kindness, and her steadfast integrity. God had perfectly positioned her in exactly the right field at exactly the right time. And her steadfast faithfulness in the waiting was exactly what prepared the way. That is your profound lesson. You absolutely do not have to frantically hunt love down. You simply have to become a person of deep character, stay entirely faithful in your current season, and fully trust God to perfectly position you. The right person, just like Boaz, will be magnetically drawn to who you actually are, not to how hard you exhaustingly chased them. Go all the way back to the very first holy union. In the garden, when God clearly saw that it was not good for the man to be alone, notice exactly what He did. He absolutely did not tell Adam to go out and frantically search, to exhaustingly strive, to endlessly worry, or to aggressively make it happen. God Himself miraculously formed Eve, and God Himself brought her directly to the man. God was the one who did the bringing. That is absolutely still how He works today. Your part is not the anxious, frantic hunt. Your part is to faithfully walk with Him, to become completely whole, and to stay totally faithful and ready. His part, the bringing, is a part he has absolutely never once failed to do in his completely perfect time. Now let me speak directly to the doubts, because I know they have heavily come, and I want to handle them with far more care than you may have been given before. You have probably heard someone casually say that absolutely all your doubts are simply the enemy trying to steal your blessing. I will absolutely not tell you that because it is simply not true. Believing that toxic lie could cost you incredibly dearly. Hear this very carefully. God gives you profound peace, and God also gives you profound wisdom. Not every single doubt is a demonic attack. Some doubts are actually divine discernment. Some doubts are the quiet, fiercely protective voice of God Himself, desperately showing you something you desperately need to see before you blindly step forward. So you must learn to tell them apart, because this may be one of the absolute most important things I say to you today. There is a specific kind of doubt that is really just basic fear, the painful fear of being hurt again, the crippling fear that you are simply not enough, the tragic fear that good things are only for other people and absolutely not for you. That specific fear is absolutely not from God, and you can safely bring it to Him and let His perfect peace totally quiet it. But there is another kind of doubt entirely, and it is completely holy. It is the deep unease you feel when something is genuinely dangerously wrong. When a person clearly shows you blatant disrespect, habitual dishonesty, casual cruelty, or a toxic pattern that deeply wounds you. When your spirit keeps loudly whispering that something absolutely does not line up, even though you cannot fully logically explain it, that specific doubt is absolutely not the enemy trying to rob you. That is God fiercely protecting you. And you must absolutely never let anyone, including a message exactly like this one, talk you out of fully honoring it. Do not ever silence your God-given discernment in the false name of faith. Real biblical faith and real divine wisdom always walk hand in hand. God will absolutely never ask you to willfully ignore a glaring red flag just to blindly prove you trust Him. So, how do you actually know when a love that is truly from God finally comes? Let me give you something incredibly solid to hold on to, because feelings alone will absolutely lie to you, and you deeply deserve far better than a wild guess. Scripture gives us the absolute truest description of love there is, and you can hold any relationship directly up against it like a brilliant light. Love is deeply patient. Love is incredibly kind. It absolutely does not envy. It does not proudly boast. It is absolutely not proud, rude, or selfishly self-seeking. It is absolutely not easily angered, and it keeps absolutely no record of painful wrongs. It absolutely does not delight in what is wrong, but constantly rejoices in the pure truth. It fiercely protects, it completely trusts, it endlessly hopes, it constantly endures. Read your actual life against that standard. A love that is truly from God will over time consistently look more and more like that. It will be deeply patient with you, incredibly kind to you, and completely honest with you. It will absolutely make you safer, not more afraid. It will constantly call you higher, not make you feel smaller. It will consistently honor God, deeply honor you, and fiercely honor itself. If a connection consistently makes you highly anxious, deeply diminished, constantly disrespected, or terrified to be fully yourself, that is absolutely not the love God is guiding you toward, no matter how incredibly strong the passing feelings are. Feelings are deeply real, but they are absolutely not proof. The actual fruit is the only proof. Closely watch the fruit. Let me make this even more intensely practical, because vague, fluffy encouragement will absolutely not protect you, and I deeply want you protected. A love that is truly from God tends to clearly show certain undeniable marks over time, and you can watch for them completely honestly. It is incredibly consistent. The person is exactly the same in total private as they are in very public. They are exactly the same when things are incredibly easy, as when things are incredibly hard. It is fiercely respectful of your personal boundaries, absolutely including your no, because someone who truly honors God will naturally honor the healthy limits you clearly set. It brings profound peace far more than it ever brings chaotic turmoil. There will absolutely always be some challenges. Every real breathing relationship has them. But the overall consistent direction is towards deep steadiness, absolutely not constant chaos and paralyzing anxiety. It makes you infinitely more yourself, absolutely not less. The truly right person actively calls out the absolute best in you and gives you massive room to beautifully grow, rather than selfishly shrinking you to fit their own comfort. And it constantly points upward. A truly God-honoring love naturally makes you both deeply want to be much closer to God, absolutely not further from Him. Hold any single relationship directly up against those specific marks, incredibly patiently and entirely honestly, over enough actual time to clearly see the real truth. Because absolutely anyone can perform incredibly well for a very short season. True character undeniably shows itself over time. And time is your absolute best friend here, not your enemy. Do not ever let anyone forcefully rush you past the vital season of really seeing exactly who a person truly is. Let me forcefully correct one toxic idea that has quietly and deeply wounded a lot of hopeful hearts. Because the world constantly sold you a fake version of love that God absolutely never promised. You have been endlessly told in 1,000 sappy songs and unrealistic films that somewhere out there is one completely flawless person who will totally complete you, who will absolutely never disappoint you, and who will make you entirely whole simply by existing. That is a beautifully packaged fantasy, and it will absolutely set you up for massive heartbreak, because absolutely no human being can ever carry the crushing weight of being your everything. That was absolutely never a human person's job. Only God can truly be the solid center that holds you together. What God actually offers is something infinitely better and vastly more real than that fake fantasy. He offers true covenant love. It is not a flawless, perfect person, but a genuinely good person, intentionally chosen and deeply committed to, with God placed firmly at the absolute center of the bond. It is two deeply imperfect people consciously deciding to love each other incredibly faithfully through absolutely every single season, and letting God fully fill what absolutely no human ever possibly could. That specific kind of love absolutely does not depend on finding someone completely flawless. It depends entirely on two people who relentlessly keep choosing each other and consistently keep God right in the middle. And that exact love, the holy covenant kind, is the absolute only one that actually lasts. Because it was never foolishly built on the completely impossible expectation that a flawed human would somehow be God for you. This is exactly why you will sometimes hear it wisely said that true love is a conscious choice and not only a passing feeling. And I deeply want you to understand exactly what that really means, because it will powerfully serve you for the absolute rest of your life. The beautiful feeling of love is an incredible gift, and it is truly wonderful, but feelings naturally rise and fall exactly like the weather. They are incredibly strong on some days and very quiet on others. If a marriage were foolishly built only on the passing feeling, it would totally collapse the very first hard season. The feeling grew faint. And absolutely every single marriage has such seasons. What actually carries a holy covenant safely through is the daily choice underneath the fading feeling. It is the conscious, daily decision to fiercely love, to faithfully stay, to be deeply kind, to freely forgive, and to fully show up, even on the very hard days when the feeling is absolutely not doing the heavy work for you. And here is the incredibly beautiful thing. When two committed people keep making that specific choice with God firmly at the center, the beautiful feeling actually comes back vastly deeper than it ever was before, beautifully seasoned by the faithful staying. Massive storms will absolutely come to any real breathing love. There will absolutely be painful misunderstandings, incredibly hard conversations, brutal seasons of deep exhaustion, heavy outside pressures, and moments when you deeply wound each other totally without meaning to. That is absolutely not a sign the love was a mistake. It is simply what it means to actually join two deeply imperfect lives. But a marriage firmly anchored in God has a massive anchor that powerfully holds when the fierce winds blow. When the two of you simply cannot find your own way back to each other on your own human strength, God in the very center becomes the exact one who lovingly draws you back, who gently softens the incredibly hard heart, and who provides the supernatural grace to freely forgive just one more time. A frail cord of two strands can definitely be broken, but Scripture clearly says a mighty cord of three strands is absolutely not easily broken. You, the one God perfectly brings, and God Himself tightly woven together. That is an unbreakable bond the fiercest storms absolutely cannot tear apart. So, do not ever fear the heavy storms that will inevitably come. Fear only building a love without the massive anchor. With God firmly at the absolute center, your love will not just barely survive the incredibly hard seasons, it will rapidly grow exponentially stronger directly through them. And the painful weathering itself will actually become part of the beautiful testimony that gives struggling others profound hope. Let me gently pause here again because the raw emotion in this may be deeply rising inside you. I want to be totally honest with you, exactly the way a true friend would be. Powerful messages exactly like this one can continue and reach the very next lonely heart, who is desperately waiting to hear that true love is absolutely still possible for them, only because some people feel deeply moved to actively help this vital work keep going. If this has genuinely and deeply served your own heart, and absolutely only if it has, there is a specific link securely pinned below where you can generously sow a seed into it, so it can quickly find the very next person desperately praying the exact same prayer you have prayed. Do this never out of forced pressure, never out of toxic guilt, only ever as a beautiful seed freely and joyfully given. And if absolutely all you have to sow today is your own heartfelt prayer for the very next person who finds this, that is a profoundly true seed too, and God beautifully receives it fully. And again, quickly subscribe if you have not, so the exact next step God desperately wants to show you absolutely does not pass you by. Now let me eagerly keep going, because I deliberately saved something incredibly important for your precious heart. I want to deeply talk about the profoundly sacred purpose of all of this. Because your title, the very profound reason you are here right now, is that this specific love is absolutely not only for you. This is the exact part that massively lifts it far above an ordinary, average love story. When God miraculously joins two people whom He has meticulously prepared, He is absolutely not only giving them to each other. He is actively building something massive directly through them. Your holy union, when it finally comes, is fully meant to be far more than just a happy partnership. It is meant to carry a massive divine purpose. Two beautifully whole people, deeply joined in genuine godly love, become a brilliant kind of light in an incredibly dark and deeply cynical world. Your future marriage can beautifully become a place of profound healing, not only for the two of you, but for absolutely everyone who witnesses it. We live in a tragic time when so many people have completely stopped believing that faithful, lasting, God-honoring love is even a real possibility. A holy marriage like that quietly screams to the entire world, it is totally real, and it absolutely can be done. That is a profound ministry. That is a massive mission. That is exactly why God deeply cares so incredibly much about getting it exactly right, and absolutely not just getting it incredibly fast. So do not ever shrink your grand expectation of exactly what this love is truly for. You are absolutely not merely looking for someone to selfishly ease your own loneliness. Though God definitely cares deeply about your painful loneliness, you are actively being prepared for a massive partnership that will powerfully serve something vastly bigger than the two of you. It will deeply bless the broken people completely around you, and it will undeniably point others directly back to the very God who perfectly authored it. That is the profoundly sacred purpose hidden in your title. That is exactly what this future marriage is fully meant to be, and a divine purpose that massively large is incredibly worth preparing for, intensely worth waiting for, and absolutely worth doing incredibly wisely. Let me clearly show you some of the specific, beautiful shapes that sacred purpose can actually take, so you can begin to vividly imagine it. A holy marriage firmly built on God can beautifully become a true home. And a godly home like that is undeniably one of the absolute most powerful things on this entire earth. It miraculously becomes a safe place of deep refuge, not just for the two people who live inside it, but for absolutely everyone who casually walks through the front door and instantly feels the profound peace that permanently lives there. If God graciously gives you precious children, that specific home beautifully becomes the fertile soil where the entire next generation deeply learns exactly what true faithfulness looks like. They learn to intimately know God absolutely not from a boring lecture, but from constantly watching two flawed people fiercely love each other incredibly well, directly through the amazing seasons and the incredibly hard ones. That is a massive legacy that entirely outlives you, and even far beyond your own walls. A holy marriage that gracefully endures becomes a powerful, quiet sermon to absolutely everyone who is watching. In a tragic world, where so many people have entirely given up on the very idea that lasting love is even possible, where toxic cynicism has completely become the lazy default, a couple who relentlessly keeps choosing each other, who freely forgives, who faithfully stays, and who fiercely honors God together directly through the massive storms, beautifully becomes a living, breathing argument that it absolutely can still be done. Other struggling couples teetering on the very edge of tragically giving up will look directly at you and miraculously find fresh hope. Younger broken people who have absolutely never seen a truly healthy love will finally vividly see one. That is incredibly powerful ministry. You will absolutely not have to verbally preach a single word. Your beautiful life together will effortlessly do all the preaching. That is exactly how massive the sacred purpose is that God is currently preparing you for. And it is exactly why He is absolutely not willing to carelessly rush it, or to haphazardly hand it to a fragmented version of you that is absolutely not yet ready to fully carry it. And let me give you something incredibly practical to actually do with absolutely all of this. Right now, exactly while you wait, because true love is absolutely not only something you passively receive, it is something you can actively begin preparing for right on your knees today. Fiercely pray for the specific person God is meticulously preparing for you, even though you absolutely may not yet know their specific name or their face. It may feel incredibly strange at first, actively praying for someone you have absolutely not yet met, but it is undeniably one of the absolute most beautiful things a faithfully waiting heart can possibly do. Fiercely pray for their divine protection. Urgently pray that God is fiercely guarding them, deeply healing them, and massively growing them, exactly just as He is actively doing for you. Passionately pray that wherever they are this exact night, their precious heart is being fiercely kept, and their deep faith is being massively strengthened. Intensely pray for their true character, that they would be a person of unshakable integrity, profound kindness, and deep faith. The exact kind of solid person you could confidently build a holy covenant with. And intensely pray for yourself in the exact same breath, that God would relentlessly keep preparing you to be the absolute right person for them too. Because you are perfectly meant to be a massive answer to their desperate prayers, exactly as much as they are meant to be a massive answer to yours. There is something incredible that deeply softens and powerfully steadies a waiting heart when it actively begins to pray for a specific love it has absolutely not yet met. It rapidly moves you totally out of anxious, frantic grasping and directly into profound, quiet trust. It beautifully reminds you that you are absolutely not the only one currently being prepared, and that God is actively working on both ends of a massive story that absolutely only He can see in full. And if the specific person God has for you has absolutely not yet appeared, or if you simply cannot yet see exactly how any of this could ever possibly come together, do not ever let your precious heart grow toxic, bitter, or terrified. You are absolutely not behind. You are absolutely not forgotten. You are absolutely not too much or too late or too deeply broken for the beautiful love God specifically designed exactly for you. The exact same God who is meticulously preparing your heart is absolutely perfectly able to flawlessly arrange the exact meeting, miraculously open the exact right door, and perfectly align the exact timing right down to the very day. Your absolute only assignment right now is to relentlessly keep becoming completely whole. Keep faithfully walking with God. Keep your spiritual discernment incredibly sharp and your precious heart profoundly soft, and fully trust Him with the exact how and the exact when. He has absolutely never once failed to keep a divine promise, and He's absolutely not going to start failing with yours. And I want to fiercely speak directly to those of you who are painfully carrying a highly particular kind of deep ache tonight, because you are absolutely here too. And this profound word is for you exactly as much as it is for anyone else. Maybe you are absolutely not waiting for a first love. Maybe you have sadly already loved and deeply lost. Maybe you are divorced, and a painful part of you quietly, tragically believes you had your one chance and completely ruined it, or that it was unfairly ruined for you. Maybe you are widowed, and you simply cannot imagine your broken heart ever possibly opening again after the precious one you had to bury. Maybe you are simply older than you ever thought you would be when true love finally came, and the cruel world keeps endlessly whispering that your specific season has permanently passed. Hear me clearly, because this is the absolute beating heart of God specifically for you. Our God is the ultimate God of absolute restoration. He is the exact one who miraculously gives back what was tragically lost, who makes breathtakingly beautiful things entirely out of totally broken ones, and who specializes exclusively in incredible second chances and massive new beginnings that absolutely no one ever saw coming. Scripture clearly says He completely restores the painful years that were eaten, that He beautifully gives beauty for ashes and profound joy for mourning. Your powerful story is absolutely not over just because one specific chapter sadly ended in deep grief. A widow named Ruth, whom we already beautifully spoke of, miraculously found her absolute greatest love right after her deepest, most devastating loss. And she shockingly became a vital part of the very lineage of the Messiah Himself. God was absolutely not finished with her when she tearfully buried her first husband, and He is absolutely not finished with you. Do not ever let deep grief, toxic regret, or the world's cruel fake timeline convince you that true love is permanently behind you. If you absolutely still have breath in your lungs, God absolutely still has massive plans. And His holy plans have absolutely never been limited by your painful past, your specific age, or your deep wounds. The incredible love He miraculously brings in a later, unexpected season is incredibly often vastly deeper, much wiser, and infinitely more grateful than absolutely anything the young ever know. Keep your precious heart completely open. True restoration is absolutely real, and it may powerfully have your exact name on it. Fully trust His perfect timing completely over your deep longing. I deeply know the waiting can agonizingly ache. I deeply know there are lonely nights, the isolation feels far heavier than you can possibly carry. But divine timing is absolutely not divine delay. God is absolutely never late, and He is absolutely never careless with your precious heart. Absolutely every season you have painfully walked through, even the incredibly painful ones, even the relationships that tragically ended and left you desperately wondering what was wrong with you, was specifically teaching you something you will desperately need. Absolutely nothing has ever been wasted. The hard lessons, the massive growth, even the brutal heartbreaks were specifically shaping you into someone completely ready to fully give and fully receive a vastly deeper, vastly truer love than you could possibly have held before. When the exact time is finally right, you will look back and clearly see that the incredibly long wait was actually a massive part of the beautiful gift. Let me gently gather absolutely all of this for your precious heart as we finally come toward the end. God is actively guiding you toward a beautiful love with a massive sacred purpose. That is completely true, and it is entirely worth your deepest hope. But exactly how you walk toward it matters exactly as much as the divine promise itself. So walk toward it completely whole, absolutely not desperate. Walk toward it incredibly patient, absolutely not forcing. Walk toward it with your spiritual discernment fully, completely awake, fiercely honoring the profound peace that says yes and the deep wisdom that clearly says wait or that firmly says no. Willingly bring your deep fears directly to God for His profound peace, and eagerly bring your genuine, valid concerns directly to God for His clear guidance. And absolutely never confuse those two things. Fiercely measure every single love directly against the absolute truth of what true love actually is, and absolutely refuse to accept anything even slightly less than that. If you do this, your grand destiny is that you will absolutely not only find love, you will completely find the exact right love at the exact right time, flawlessly built to completely last, and powerfully built to deeply serve a massive purpose vastly far beyond yourselves. Before we deeply pray, let me gently speak exactly once more, because this is the absolute last thing, and it is specifically for absolutely anyone whose precious heart has been deeply touched tonight. If these specific words have powerfully met you exactly where you are, generously sow into this vital work, if it is truly on your heart, so it can continue to furiously keep reaching desperate hearts exactly like yours in their absolute loneliest hour, and truly subscribe. Absolutely not for the trivial sake of a number, but solely so the exact next vital step God desperately wants to walk you through can actually successfully find you the exact moment He releases it. And then, dear one, do exactly one more vital thing, and please let it be incredibly real. In the comments below, clearly tell the specific season God powerfully used to deeply prepare your heart for true love. Name the incredibly hard chapter you absolutely did not understand at the time. Name the painful waiting that felt completely endless. Name the deep healing you honestly did not even know was actually happening. Vividly name it directly in your very own words. Say something specific like, "The long, painful years I spent entirely alone after my heart was brutally broken were the exact place where God powerfully taught me my own deep worth. And I honestly did not even see it until right now." Because the exact moment you courageously name the specific season that heavily prepared you, you immediately begin to clearly see it was absolutely never a cruel punishment. It was massive, divine preparation. And your raw, honest words may easily be the absolute very thing that miraculously gives profound hope to the very next desperate person, still painfully sitting right in the exact middle of their own incredibly long wait, not yet knowing that it is actively getting them completely ready to. Let us deeply pray. Father, thank you so incredibly much for the precious heart listening right now. Thank you for absolutely every single prayer they have desperately whispered in the absolute dark. Thank you for every single tear you have intimately counted. Thank you for every single deep longing you have absolutely not forgotten. Thank you that you are absolutely not only preparing a beautiful love for them, but fiercely preparing them for true love, making them completely whole, deeply healing what was brutally wounded, and powerfully teaching them their immense worth directly in your loving eyes. Please give them the profound patience to completely trust your perfect timing, and the sharp wisdom to clearly know your specific voice. Powerfully give them profound peace exactly where there has been terrifying fear, and crystal clear discernment exactly where there has been massive confusion. Fiercely guard them from ever sadly settling for anything less than the beautiful love you perfectly designed. And guard them exactly as surely from ever forcefully rushing what is absolutely not yet fully ready. Lovingly lead them in your absolute perfect time into a beautiful love that deeply honors you, fiercely honors them, and massively blesses the entire world around them. And until that glorious day, powerfully hold them incredibly close and let them deeply feel that they were absolutely never, for even one single moment, ever alone. In the mighty, matchless name of Jesus, we passionately pray. Dear one, your faithful guardian angels are closely with you. God is profoundly with you. The beautiful love you have been desperately waiting for, the exact love with a massive sacred purpose, is absolutely not a fake fantasy, and it is absolutely not too late. It is currently being meticulously prepared, and so are you. So fiercely keep your precious heart deeply soft, and intensely keep your spiritual discernment completely awake. Fully trust His perfect timing. Faithfully walk in deep faith and in sharp wisdom completely together. This is exactly your painful season of deep preparation, miraculously becoming your glorious season of massive fulfillment. And when it finally comes, in the absolute fullness of God's perfect time, you will undeniably know that absolutely every single painful step of the incredibly long journey was perfectly leading you directly home. Amen.